everyone. Today we're gonna be doing something a little bit different. We are going for a ride today. One of Tao's friends is in the area and she wanted to try this restaurant in East Earl, Pennsylvania. So we're gonna go meet her there for lunch. But it is a little bit of a drive. It's about an hour and a half. But it is very significant to this channel specifically because it is an Amish buffet. And not just that, it is the biggest buffet in the US. How crazy is it that the biggest buffet in the US is an Amish buffet? We have to try it. I heard about this buffet a couple months ago and I've been wanting to try it. And then when she brought it up, I was like, it's perfect. So we're gonna bring you guys along and let you guys know how it is and if it is worth a drive. Let's hope it is. Hour and a half drive for food. Let's hope it's good. But we will take you along. Hey babe, you ready for some Amish buffet?
Yeah. We're ready. We outside.
Yeah.
Sasky.
How do you think it's gonna be? I've heard mixed reviews, so.
Apparently it's good, you know.
It is, I mean, the parking lot is packed, so.
Yeah. Exactly.
It should be good.
That's a good sign.
It's always a good sign when the parking lot is packed.
You did.
But we'll see. Look at Cinema's hand in the back. He was waving. Okay, I'll let you know how it is. This is what it looks like at the outside of the building when you walk up to it. It's really nice, but the building is huge. It was like never ending. And you can see the line up here. The line is out the door. It was such a long line. The line moved pretty quickly, but look at that line. And it's not just, this is not the only line. When you get inside, what you think you're about to get to your table, but no, inside there's like so many lines as well. Like 5 to 7 lines on the inside. This inside, look at that. The whole room is filled with lines just up the counter. They had these quilts hanging on the wall that brought back so many memories. And then the paper flowers. This is the drink area. They had all the drinks that you could possibly imagine. And then this is the dessert area. They had tons of desserts. And this is the food. They had so many of these lines. It was so hard to get them on video because there was so many people. But they have so many different stations, pizza, salmon, fish, burgers, steak, you name it. They probably have it. And the brisket was so good. I just want to apologize again for not getting more footage of the inside of the diner, but it was so packed. They had like a big main area and that was just filled with tables and seating. But then they also had like these little rooms off to the side. Well, they weren't little, they were pretty big, which were also filled. So everybody's coming to these buffets to get food and it was like a line that moved pretty slow. So it was just hard to try to get any footage. I did get some, not nearly as much as I wanted to. I thought I got more, but when I actually looked at the videos, it was more videos of just people in front of the food, not the actual food. So yeah, sorry about that. But about the food, I was surprised about the variety. They have so much variety and I was able to find food that we made at home that I don't see a lot of out here. It's a really big diner with so many options. You're gonna find something that you like. And it was good. It was good. The meat, the burgers, the steak. Personally, I thought they tasted more like, they tasted better. Okay, so back home, all of our meat is fresh because we butcher our own meat, so it's fresher than, it tastes different than the store-bought meat here. And I thought it tasted more like that. And I was also told by our friends that were with us that it did taste better than the meat that you would get in the store. So yes, it was really good and we liked it. But there is one dish that I always used to judge. And it is a dish that we used to have back home and it was so good. But everywhere that I have this dish out here, it's not the same. It doesn't taste good. I think it's just a dish that is more difficult to get it perfect. But even when I cook it, I like it, but it's still missing something. It still just doesn't taste quite what it did back home. Or maybe I'm just remembering it wrong. That could also be. But that dish is stuffing. And I was so excited to taste this because I was like, honestly, I was like, this is what my review is gonna depend on, the stuffing. If the stuffing is good, I don't care what all the other food, how all the other food tastes like, it's getting a 10 out of 10. But I was disappointed. That stuffing was not good. It was not good. It had no taste. But the other food was really good. And then in the end, they have like this huge area of desserts as well. And I found custard. And I love custard. It was my dad's favorite dessert. We could never make it enough at home. But the custard, it wasn't good. But now, it was cold custard, and we usually ate it warm at home. So I don't know if that's what it is. Maybe it's just because it wasn't warm. And maybe that's just what cold custard tastes like. I don't know. But yeah, I was disappointed on the custard and the stuffing. Here we spotted our first horse and buggy. You can hear Tawie's excitement in the background. And here we saw an other buggy. It's right there. But I've never seen a buggy like that before. We do not have buggies like that at home. This is where the Amish house tour was. We took a picture in the front. And then we went inside. Also, just want to say that this is not what an Amish house looks like. Maybe it is what an Amish house looks like in Pennsylvania. But where I come from, we would not be allowed to have all this landscaping and all these flowers around the house like this. And honestly, we wouldn't be allowed to have a green door. And this is where you buy your tickets here in the front. They have pictures on the walls. This right here is a well. We used to have a well at home, but it was not like this. It wasn't above ground like this. You couldn't see down there like this. But this is, you can see it's really far down. But I promise, well water is some of the best water you will ever have. And this is like the pump for the well. It's connected to the windmill. And this is just the outside area behind the house. Also way more landscaping than we would ever be allowed. This is a pulley line. We had this at home. And it's a pulley connected to each end of the line. This is the smokehouse. We had a smokehouse at home too, where we smoke our meat. And it's so good. Can fit a whole bunch of meat in there. And then back here, they have a couple more things. This back here, you see the little stove at the bottom? This is a dehydrator. You can like dehydrate cherry or even fruits and stuff. We did not have this at home, but it's pretty cool. This is like, we would consider it a pizza oven now, but this is like an oven. And then this is the cast iron kettle that we used to heat hot water in to take a bath back home. And just build a fire underneath it. And this thing, we use this to make silage. We would run the corn stalks through it and then blow it up into the silos. And this is what they call an Amish bench wagon. We did not have this at home, so this is new to me. We just used a regular wagon to haul our church benches to and from like the different houses that we're holding the church services at. This is the barn. Now this smells exactly like the Amish barns did back home, which was crazy. It definitely took me back. I think it was the hay that is in there, but then they have like a corn area for the kids to play in the corn. This is what we played in when we didn't have sand. It's like the stalls for the animals. They didn't have any animals though. And then this is just more of the outside. If you walk down around the corner, they have animals in that field. They have goats and stuff. And then right here in the corner, they have a big silo. And then that's where we stored our silage for most of the time. See the goats just playing out there. It's so pretty though. And then up here, I think this next building is a corn crib, although it looks different from our corn cribs at home. Our corn cribs, you would be able to recognize it as a corn crib right away, but this one was a little different. On the inside it looks like a corn crib, but the outside it doesn't. They had like so much stuff in here, including this checkers game, which of course we had to play. And then over here there's a lot of stuff. That's a sausage stuffer. We use that at home to make sausages. And different things over here. Now, not all of these things I was able to even know what they were. But back there you have like a horse and buggy as decoration. We're definitely not allowed to have decoration like that at home. And a covered wagon. We do not have covered wagons at home. That's like a little plow right there in the little garden. We did have those, but they were very old, and we had like newer ones that we used more. And they have like a barbecue shop there, restaurant. We ended up not eating at that barbecue place, but it smelled really good. This is the wash house. I don't recognize this, but right here next to it is the washing machine. That's what we use to wash our clothes. This is just like random things. We have like a meat grinder, and then next to it we have a butter churn right there in the corner, and then also a sausage stuffer right there. And this is just a sink in the wash house. It looks really gross. And then just different things. Touring this Amish house, it was kind of weird, because back home we had tourists come to our town to tour the Amish and all of that. I used to work at a bakery where all the tourists stopped by on their way around the community to tour. And I never understood what was such a big deal about touring the Amish. I mean, it was my everyday life. So, and I never thought even of doing an Amish tour in Pennsylvania, because yes, they're also Amish, but our lifestyles are different, so different. I didn't even know it was this different. I grew up Old Order, and I'm not sure what order they are, but it's just interesting that we're all Amish, but it was so different. Now, there was lots of stuff that I recognized. I was like, oh yeah, but there was also a lot that I was like, yeah, we'd never be allowed that. I wish. But touring this house, it was so much fun. I got so excited seeing everything, and then being able to give our friends a tour. They've lived close to this area for many years, and they do all their birthday parties at this Amish buffet, and they have done these Amish tours before. So they're not new to the Pennsylvania Amish community. They're not new to it, but I was able to at least like give them a little more information about it. But so that was fun, way more fun than I expected. It was different, but it actually made me miss home so much. Just seeing everything, even if it was a little different. Okay, it was not just a little different, it was quite different. It didn't matter, because it was still similar, and it just, I don't know, it just reminded me of home even still, and it just made me miss home. But I have fun showing them around and explaining different things. I was surprised how much stuff were similar as well. Like the little equipment stuff that you see in the video. It was just interesting to see, like, yes, our lifestyles are different, but they're still similar, if that makes sense. But touring that barn, that probably brought back the most memories, because we spent so much time in the barns at home just playing in the hay. We didn't have a lot of toys to play with, so we played with what we had. And playing in the hay was a lot of fun. We used to build these swings like all the way up at the top of the barn, and then we'd swing around and land on the hay. Scary, because sometimes we would swing back and forth. Like, we had big barns and the hay was filled up like probably 50 feet up sometimes, and we would swing from one side of the barn and then jump out into the hay on the other side of the barn. Yeah, we definitely not want to send them away doing that. But it was fun. It was fun. And so, I don't know, just the smell of hay brought back so many memories. And now they had like tobacco farming equipment there. I have no idea, I'm not familiar with that. We never did tobacco farming back home, so that's new to me. But also, they did a briefing at the beginning of the tour, and I learned a lot about the history of the Amish. And I know it doesn't guarantee that it's the same thing, because it's Old Order Amish versus Pennsylvania Amish, but I feel like they had to be connected at some point way back. There had to have been a connection. This house specifically, they said it was a Quaker house that the Amish used when they first came to Pennsylvania in, I want to say the 1600s, but that sounds like really long ago. I know that the Amish first came to America in the 1600s, so maybe I might have that mixed up with the year that they were living in that house. And that house it was definitely not like an Amish house, and I think that's why, because it wasn't originally an Amish house. But they still, like, you will see this too. If an Amish family moves into a house that was previously owned by non-Amish, they will make it into an Amish house, but you'll still see some stuff that isn't traditional, isn't like a traditional Amish house. And that's what this one looked like. Like, you could tell that it is an Amish house, but it's not a traditional Amish house, if that makes sense. And they had it set up to where in the kitchen, they had like the church benches there, and then in the living room, they had the church benches. And for the briefing, they separate the men and women, and they sat the women into the living room and the men in the kitchen. And then they stood between and gave the briefing the way that they do at Amish churches. So at Amish churches, well, actually they had this switch, because in the Amish churches, the women usually sit in the kitchen and the men sit in the living room. And then the preacher stands in the middle and preaches to everybody. But it was similar, and it brought back memories. Now, it also made me realize that Saint Nemoy was not ready to be an Amish kid. Not that he ever will be, but he was only happy if he was running back and forth between me and Tawi. So, and he was not quiet. In an Amish church, you better be quiet, or you're gonna be taken outside. You don't wanna know what happens when you get taken outside for not being quiet. But, I don't know, it just brought back memories, and it was interesting. But yeah, it definitely made me miss back home, and now I gotta go visit home. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Ida_Machiva. I do daily updates on Instagram as well. So enjoy.